Before I get into the main point of this video, I just want to say I'm really glad to see a lot of new faces in the comment section lately, even more so now that I'm playing and making content on Bless. I plan to do the same thing with several other new games coming out this year that I will check out and play. I hope to see more of your comments and talk to more of you guys on Discord in the future. Anyways, today I'll give you 10 tips you should know when playing Bless that are more or less aimed towards new or starting players. Number 1. You'll get hundreds and later on more than a few thousand lumena or cash up currency just by following the main quest line, and even more later on in the game with level 50 dailies. My advice for using them as a new player is to pay for the permanent 3-row bag expansions. The single row ones have the same cost and can wait till later, but getting 24 more bag space for a couple hundred lumena is very worth it. Doing so takes away some of the annoyance of a full inventory and worrying about which item is okay to delete in the middle of a boss fight. If you need any more space than that, just go to your warehouse storage. But honestly, after getting the expansion, you'll likely not have any issue with inventory space, at least not until you get more into gathering and crafting. Number 2. A good way to spend the gold you get from leveling is buying gear from the auction house. Higher level players run low level dungeons to get dungeon points for crafting, and they sell the gear drops typically very cheaply. Dungeon gear will almost always be better than whatever gear you get from questing, and while you can get it yourself by running dungeons, there's no shame in buying a few armors here and there from the auction house, since everybody else likely will be doing the same thing. You can also look at the crafting window and see if you have any materials for any gear upgrades, then buy whatever extra materials you need. You should especially look into this the closer you get to level 30, cause you'll be forced to go into areas with PvP around that level, which I'll talk more about in a bit. Number 3. Around level 28 or so, the main quest line will take you through areas where the opposing faction is also questing and leveling up. It's a good idea to be ready for PvP around this time, because you'll likely end up being attacked at some point and fighting some people in the open world. Killing the opposing faction gives honor points and experience, so people will almost always fight if the opportunity is right in front of them. As you get closer to these levels, start creating a build that will work for both PvP and PvE, and maybe duel some friends to get an idea of what your class and skills are like against another player. It's also not such a bad idea to find a partner to level up with around this time, because the person to attack you may not always be alone. Number 4. Do some of the side quests in the game, the important keyword being some. The leveling in the game is designed so you'll need to do some of them to catch up to your main story's recommended level. You definitely will not need to do every single one you run into, but just pick some up once in a while so you don't end up 2 levels behind what's necessary to continue. There's often good rewards from them anyway, like taming scrolls, gear, and crafting materials. Just pick them up along the way, and if any are too annoying to do, skip them and do a different one. It's not a big deal if you miss the majority. Number 5. Buy skill books from trainer shops in town. While this one might seem like a no-brainer, I've seen more than a few people reach level 30 without ever buying new skills, which is not only unacceptable but also really painful to think about in terms of how hard and boring the gameplay might have been for them. The main questline gives a few skill books in the beginning, and some people just assume that's how it will be until the end. That's just not the case for this game. I just want to make sure that at least those of you watching this video won't make the same mistake. Number 6. Pretty early on in the game, preferably sometime before level 15, tame some pets until you get one with an EXP buff, then raise its level for a higher bonus. While a 2% bonus EXP for monster kills doesn't sound like a big deal, if you level it up a bit by sacrificing other pets, the percentage can make a much bigger difference. It all adds up in the end since you're killing so many things to level up, and you'll get taming scrolls as you go through the game anyway, so if you tame a pet that looks pretty cool and get a good buff on it, you should level it up. Number 7. Kill elite monsters you run into in the open world. There's often a bigger and tougher version of a monster that's kind of like the mini boss of the area it's in. Some are very easy to kill, and some will need you to find teammates or very good gear. These elite monsters give very good experience and oftentimes drop crafting materials and decent gear for their levels. Number 8. Join a guild for the guild buff, GVG, and territory wars. Your guild's buff will give EXP bonus, mount speed, and even increase attack rates that all gets higher as your guild levels up. They don't make a huge difference in the early levels, but more bonuses are added in the higher levels. At some point in the game, one's guild can also play a vital part in getting endgame gear, because guilds that hold territories can buy legendary gear to distribute to their members. But I won't go into detail with that right now since this video is more for newer players. That stuff will be for another video. Number 9. Keep an eye out for and try not to skip the dungeons. The main quest line doesn't take you directly to them, but you can find them on your map with the symbol. They give really good gear for their levels, and since the dungeons get progressively more difficult, it's good to get used to playing in a party and knowing what other classes are capable of early on. And lastly, number 10. Don't bother looking for a flying mount to tame. When my girlfriend Media and I failed at trying to tame some cool looking griffins when we first started playing 5 or so months ago, we spent a good day and a half looking for flying mounts until someone from Discord told us they're only from world bosses, just trying to save you the hassle and time. Flying mounts are very helpful when it comes to questing in this big world, but it seems the developers wanted newer and early level players to traverse the land by foot. As an extra tip, especially for those playing the Russian and Korean versions at the moment, it's a lot more fun going through the game with people you can talk to, so take some time and visit the Blast Discord or my Discord to find a guild or just some other people likely playing on the same server you're on. Do consider subscribing if you'd like to see more Blast content, cause there's a good chance I'll make another tips video that's geared more towards advanced players, for things like more ways to get cash out currency in the game, how to get legendary gear, and a few more I'll probably think of in the coming days as I get closer and closer to endgame. As always, thank you for watching and have a good day.